welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel if you're a subscriber. I'm here today to talk about my lupus. This is the first time I've ever recorded a video for YouTube on my phone, so I have no idea what this is going to look like or come out like. But if you haven't been around or you are new, I'm a busy mum of two. They're both very little still. One is nearly 3 and one has just turned 1. It's a lot, and so yeah, I just have to do what I have to do. And I tried filming on my camera and the battery's dead and I don't have time. One of them's just woken up, one of them's about to wake up from their naps. It is what it is. I hope it's okay. Surely with these phones it should be fine. Just want to address straight away that if you can hear or you know that my breathing is like weird, it seems weird or sounds weird, it is. I'm having loads of respiratory issues. We don't currently, and haven't throughout investigations, think that it's to do with my lupus. Basically, when I was pregnant with my daughter, my youngest, I had a really terrible chest infection and bronchitis, and ever since then my breathing has been like, I can't breathe. Like, I struggle to breathe, and my breathing is really like noisy. It's nothing to do with my lungs. I did a lung capacity test, it was perfect. It's nothing to do with like fitness, because it doesn't happen if I'm like running around after my toddler in the park. Talking and singing are actually the things that make it like the worst, and it's because that we do know now that my airways are restricted. We just don't know why that's happened and how to rectify that. So yes, I will update you on that, but I've got more tests scheduled coming up really soon. It's just really annoying. It feels like I'm trying to take a breath through like the eye of a pin. Like, it's so annoying. So yeah, that's what's been going on currently, so I'm sorry if you can hear that or you can tell that it's weird. Yeah, 10 years, wow. I remember when I first started doing these videos that I always thought of this video. I always thought, wow, I wonder what I'll be saying in the 10 years of lupus video. Like, I wonder what I'll be talking about, how I'll be feeling, how I'll be with my lupus. And I'm pleased to report, I don't think I ever could have imagined I'd be doing so well, which is so lovely to be able to sit here and say. For the first like 3 to 5 years after I got diagnosed, I don't think I ever could have imagined being able to sit here and say that. I feel better than I ever thought I would, and I feel really lucky about that. And yeah, if you don't know, or you're new here or you just don't know, I was diagnosed with systemic lupus erythematosus back in July 2016, which is why I always film these videos in July, because it's always the anniversary. And so now this year right now is the 10-year anniversary of that. The ways my lupus has always affected me and continues to affect me is joint pain and really just widespread pain. I live in pain 24/7. That is just my reality. Fatigue, rashes, hair loss, and those are sort of the main things that I've been suffering with since the very beginning, to varying degrees. It like gets a little bit better, it gets worse again. It's just always like this. If you don't know anything about lupus, it is made worse by like heat, UV rays, the sun. So summer is normally always a bit harder for me. We currently do up my meds every summer, like really mid-spring we up them, and then when we get to sort of mid-autumn or start of autumn, depends on the weather, me and my specialist discuss trying to take them back down a bit and seeing how I go. If I have flares and I need to up them again, then that's what we do. But if I'm coping okay, then that's what we do. A huge life update is that I have 2 children. 2 beautiful, perfect, amazing, wondrous children. Being their mum is the joy of my life in a way that I can't put into words. I always knew I wanted to be a mum. I always knew I'd love being a mum, but it far surpasses that. Like, I can't even explain it. The joy I get from them, from being with them, from getting to be their mum is unbelievable. And I am a stay-at-home mum. That was mine and my husband's choice. Is what we always wanted. We're very, 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 very lucky to be able to do that. So I'm with them 24/7 and I don't want to be anywhere else. I love them. And I have a son who's nearly 3 and I have a daughter who just turned 1. So yeah, we did have 2 under 2 for a little while. And actually a lot of people messaged me when I was pregnant both times about my lupus and pregnancy, and I got sort of told by my specialist way back when I got diagnosed and I met my specialist for the first time, and I've had the same specialist the whole way through. I will not let him go. I will follow him to the ends of the earth. If he leaves that hospital, this area, I'm following him. He's amazing. We have such a good rapport and understanding of my condition, and it's just so easy. Like, a lot of the time now we can have phone call appointments unless I'm flaring or something. But if it's just a case of like discussing the care plan and next steps and testing and stuff, then we can just, it's just so easy and convenient and great. He's amazing. My first question to him was, am I going to be able to have kids? Like, what is that going to look like? I've always wanted to be a mum. I had so many questions about pregnancy and labour and birth and the babies and their health, and he was so great and so reassuring. And he did at the time say, and then when I got pregnant for the first time, he said this again: people with lupus, either their lupus stays exactly the same as it was pre-pregnancy. You'll have no difference. You'll just be pregnant. With lupus, your lupus will get worse because of the pregnancy. That can happen. Or your lupus will improve because of the pregnancy. And the way that sort of works is that pregnancy suppresses your immune system, which is why you can get ill 10,000 times when you're pregnant. You can pick up every single bug going, especially if you're pregnant for the second time with a toddler at home who touches everything and everything is dirty and germ forward. You'll get all the illnesses. Pregnancy suppresses your immune system, but with lupus, I have an overactive immune system, so it sort of dampens it for me. And so I'm really lucky in that both pregnancies I've felt really great. I've coped really well. I've had really easy, lovely, healthy, blissful pregnancies. I love being pregnant. I would do it 10 times. And yeah, I actually think, and I've said this to everyone, that I felt like it before, but everyone sort of rolls their eyes like they do to all new mums and says, yeah, just wait and see. But I always felt like I was so ready for labour and birth, and I've always wanted to do it naturally with as little intervention and pain meds as possible. And I always felt like I would be able to handle that because I live in pain constantly. Like, I am so used to pain and discomfort. What's a little bit more pain and discomfort? And also knowing that it's for the end goal of my beautiful, lovely baby. Like, that's better than knowing that I'm just sat here in pain because of my lupus. Surely. And that is actually what I found to be true. I coped really, really well with labour and birth. And my daughter was actually born here at home with no one but me and my husband and a doula that we hired. We had a whole home birth planned and the most amazing midwife. And she was all for it because technically with lupus you are high risk. That's just a tick box that they have to do. When we actually looked through everything, I had the most textbook healthy pregnancies. So yes, I was high risk, but in reality, everything was perfect. So why would I not have baby at home? So we had a home birth and we had a whole pool set up literally right there and all the fairy lights, and it was literally the best moment of my life. And yeah, had her right there in the pool. The midwife didn't make it in time. She was stuck in traffic by Waitrose. She turned up about half hour after baby girl was born. It was just magic. I can't stop grinning like a Cheshire cat, even a year on when I think of her birth. It was incredible. So yeah, I do want to be like a voice of hope in that way, in that if you have lupus and you want to be pregnant, or you are pregnant and you're thinking about labour and birth, like, there's a million stories like mine of like just how positive and healthy and happy it can be. So don't get too panicked or worried about it being awful because you have lupus. That's probably not going to be the case. Obviously, everyone has lupus differently. That is the nature of the disease. But yeah, for me, I was very lucky and it was blissful and lovely. So all good things there. I don't know if you heard that. It's my little girl. She's just woken up. She's playing in her crib. Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing really well. I currently have this ongoing thing with rashes that are like, I don't know if you can see it like this, that started when I had my son. And it's like a contact rash. It actually started with him because of the amount with my first newborn that I was anti-backing and washing my hands and all the baby stuff and all the changing mats, and literally ruined the like barrier on my skin, and it was awful. And then I get it like here from wearing nursing bras because I've just been back to back nursing for 3-4 years. So yeah, that's been going on. But other than that, like I always have my butterfly rash. I'm wearing makeup. You can't see it too bad, but it's always, that's there 24/7 all year round. I haven't had like a major flare up in summer for years, and that is purely because I now know how to look after myself. I know Factor 50 is obviously a must. If I can be covered up, that's better for me, in like lightweight loose clothing rather than like bare skin in the sun, or even in the shade. Hats, wide brim hats. Yeah, just I know how to take care of myself a lot better. Rest is still massively important. Obviously, it's harder to get the amount of rest I need with 2 young children. But I just have to take it where I can. That's why I'm a massive, massive advocate for when they are napping, I'm doing nothing. Don't ask me or expect me to do anything. That is when I recharge my batteries to then be able to go for the next half of the day until bedtime. One of those that's like get up and clean the house whilst they're napping. Absolutely not. Take it for yourself. Do something you enjoy. Have a nap. Have some rest. Recharge. You'll be a happier, better mum for it come the afternoon when they're up again. At least for me. I now see my specialist twice a year normally. Sometimes it's been more if like when I've been pregnant. But bless him, even the last appointment I had when I was like going to be heavily pregnant in summer with my daughter, he was like, please don't come in. Just let's go on the phone. Unless you're really worried about something, let's just talk on the phone. And I wasn't. And so we did just talk on the phone. But yeah, I see him a couple of times a year now, normally once in winter and once like as it's getting to summer or in summer. He does a whole bunch of blood tests before I see him, 2 weeks before. They're always the same unless I'm pregnant or something else is going on. There might be a couple of things he adds in to test me for. And then I go in and we discuss those results. A few times over the last few years, he's had to give me like a steroid shot when I've been in there because of stuff that's been going on, symptoms I've had, which is always amazing and helps me basically immediately. But most of the time it's just a case of being like, this is where I'm at, and he tells me what he's found with my bloods, and we discuss when we'll next see each other and when we should plan to do meds and stuff. All of my symptoms that I still suffer with are, like I said, really the same. Rashes, hair loss. Hair loss has been hard to track because you have postpartum hair loss, which is wild. You literally, like, this is glued to my head because otherwise I'm like this. And that's how you know I've got a 1-year-old. So that's been harder to track because I was literally pregnant, breastfeeding at the same time, and then had the baby and then breastfeeding. So I've been on a hormonal roller coaster for a good few years now. So it's been harder to track what's been lupus hair loss and what's been baby and hormone hair loss. I still am in pain all the time. It still does affect me, and I really have to be intentional about carving out rest time, and I do still get frustrated. I think that's like the major thing. I was miserable in the first few years when I got diagnosed out of sheer frustration of like, I used to be able to do this in a day and feel fine, and now I can do one thing and I'm knocked for 6 and I'm fast asleep and I'm in agony and I'm crying. that's really hard for anyone to go through and get to terms with. And I don't think I ever expected to feel no frustration with it, because that's just not going to happen, I don't think, for me. Because naturally, I'm a very active, outgoing, fun-loving, adventurous person. Like, I love to be doing things, and my body says no. Basically. So, you know, that just is what it is, and I've had to accept it. It's taken a long time, but I feel like I am there. But yeah, I can literally feel it, and it's still the same feeling. It's bizarre. I feel like in my first video I explained it this way, and it's exactly right. I suddenly feel like my body's like filling up with cement from the feet up. I can feel it happening when I've been overdoing it. Like, it happened recently because there was a huge heat wave where it was literally like 35 degrees. Us Lupus are not cut out for that. And at the same time, it was my daughter's birthday, so we were planning. I was making a lot of the stuff by hand for her party, and her birthday. Like, her party was a few days before her birthday, so, you know, and just getting ready for all of that. It was just a manic time, and I'd overdone it, and I could literally feel it as the days were going by. I was like getting filled up with cement, and I was like, if I don't sit the fuck down for at least half a day, I'm going to completely crash out and end up in A&E again. Because, again, I think for like the first 5 years, every summer I'd end up in A&E because I literally couldn't move. I was being sick from the pain, couldn't hold anything in, swollen and covered in rashes that were horrific. And that hasn't happened for the last few years since I've had my kids, which is incredible. But yeah, I have to be really intentional and be like, I have to say to my husband, Sunday, count me out. I'm off the books. I am doing nothing. He's the best dad, so it's nothing to him. He's like, yeah, okay. Bye. But yeah, it means that I just have to, and I get FOMO. Like, I don't want to be away from my babies. I literally love spending time with them, but I know I have to. It's like, okay, I could not, and then I will end up in hospital. So it's a case of I have to do nothing. I have to do less. I have to, whatever it is. You have to be really in tune with yourself, I feel like, when you've got any kind of chronic illness or chronic disease, and you have to listen to yourself and to your body's cues and trust them, and that's not always possible, and it's definitely not always easy, but I think it's key to being like where I'm at now, where I feel so much better and I feel like I have a real great balance. Not like I go months being like, la la la, I feel fantastic, I don't have lupus. But every now and then I'm like, oh yeah. And I remember how unwell I was. And I'm like, I feel sorry for that girl. And also, I'm so grateful to be here. And look at me go. So yeah, that's where I'm at 10 years on. I'm doing really, really well. And I'm really, really proud of myself. And all the things I've accomplished in 10 years. And where my life is at. And how I'm coping with my lupus as a mum and with a totally different lifestyle now. So yeah, it's just really nice to come to you guys with some really, really positive vibes and news about that. Because also, like, when I was doing these videos, there was a real sense of community in the comments and in messages and stuff. Either from people that know me or don't know me but just like my content, or from people who have lupus or chronic illnesses that are like lupus, and being able to support each other and ask questions and inspire each other. And so yeah, I've always liked doing these, and yeah, I'm happy to do this 10-year one because it's just so happy and positive. That's it for today's video though. So yeah, I will see you again soon. I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and I will see you soon. Bye.